Terrorizes a universe. Text 24 has no purport, so I'll just read that. Tesham avira budvani arupa meka nishvana sanadayanti kakupa sadhunam apayankari. Then there appeared before them a transcendental sound vibration emanating from a personality not visible to material eyes. The voice was as grave as the sound of a cloud, and it was very encouraging, driving away all fear. So then text 25 is on the board. Ma Vaishta Buddha Shrestha Sarvesham Badram Astu Darshanam Bhutanam Savashreya Upapataye Ma Vaishta Vibhuda Shrestha Ma Vaishta Vibhuda Shrestha Sarvesham Badram Astuva Sarvesham Badram Astuva Darshanam hi Bhutanam Sarvasriyopapataye Ma Vaishta Vibhuda Shrestha Sarvesham Badram Astuva Darshanam hi Bhutanam Sarvasriyopapataye
Sarvesham Badramastuva Madarshanami Bhutanam Sarvashreyopapataye
Mavaishta Vibhudhasista
Shrestha
Sarvesham Badramastuva Madarshanam hi Bhutanam Sarvasreyopapataye Upapataye.
Sarvasya Upapataye.
Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Sarvesam Bhadramastuva.
Sarvesham Bhadramastuva.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Sarvasveyo Papataye.
Sarvasya Upapataye. Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Sarvesham Bhadramastuva.
Sarvesham Bhadramastuva.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Sarvasya Upapataye.
Sarvasveyo Papataye.
Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Sarvesham Bhadramastuva.
Sarvesham Bhadramastuva.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Sarvashreyo Papataye.
Sarvasya Upapataye.
Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Mabhaista Vibhuta Shrestha.
Sarvesham Bhadramastuva.
Sarvesham Bhadramastuva.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Madarshanam Hi Bhutanam.
Sarvashreyo Papataye.
Sarvasya Upapataye. Ma.
Do not.
Do not.
Vaista. Fear.
Fear.
Vibhuta Shrestha.
Vibhuta Shrestha.
O best of learned persons.
The best of learned persons.
Sarvesham.
Sarvesham.
All.
All.
Bhadram. The good fortune.
The good fortune.
Astu. Let there be.
Let there be.
Unto you.
Unto you.
Madarshanam.
Madarshanam.
The seeing of me.
Seeing of me.
Or offering prayers to me or hearing about me.
Offering prayers to me or hearing about me.
All of which are absolutes.
All of which are absolute.
He indeed. Bhutanam.
Bhutanam.
All living entities.
All living entities.
Sarvashreya.
Sarvashreya.
Of all good fortune.
All good fortune.
Upapataye.
Upapataye.
The attainment. So there's one more verse. Gyatam etasidauratmyam daite ya pasa dashayat tasha shantim karishami kalam tava pratikshata. Translation. The voice of the Lord vibrated as follows. O best of learned persons, do not fear. I wish all good fortune to you, because my devotees become my devotees by hearing and chanting about me and offering me prayers, for these are certainly meant to award benedictions to all living entities. I know all about the activities of Hiranyakashipu and shall surely stop them very soon. Please wait patiently until that time. Purport. Sometimes people are very much eager to see God. In considering the word Madarshanam, seeing me, which is mentioned in this verse, one should note that in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Bhaktyam Vijnanati. In other words, the ability to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to see Him or talk with Him, depends on one's advancement in devotional service, which is called Bhakti. In Bhakti, there are 9 different activities: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Harisevanam, Arjanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Because all these devotional activities are absolute, there is no fundamental difference between worshipping the deity in the temple, seeing him and chanting his glories. Indeed, all of these are ways of seeing him, for everything done in devotional service is a means of direct contact with the Lord. The vibration of the Lord's voice appeared in the presence of all the devotees, and although the person vibrating the sound was unseen to them, they were meeting or seeing the Lord because they were offering prayers and because the vibration of the Lord was present. Contrary to the laws of the material world, there is no difference between seeing the Lord, offering prayers, and hearing a transcendental vibration. Pure devotees, therefore, are fully satisfied by glorifying the Lord. Such glorification is called kirtan. Performing kirtan and hearing the vibration of the sound Hare Krishna is actually seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. One must realize this position, and then one will be able to understand the absolute nature of the Lord's activities. Ma Vaishta Vibhuda Shrestha Sarvesham Bhadram Astuva Madashanam Vibhutanam Sava Sreyo Papataye Gyatam Etashidauramyam Daite Ya Pasadashayat Tasha Shantim Karishami Kalam Tava Pratikshata. The voice of the Lord vibrated as follows: O best of learned persons, do not fear. I wish all good fortune to you. Become my devotees by hearing and chanting about me and offering me prayers, for these are certainly meant to award benedictions to all living entities. I know all about the activities of Hiranyakashipu and shall surely stop them very soon. Please wait patiently until that time. Om Magyana Timrandasha Yanandana Salakya Taksumitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruvi Namaha Mukham Karoti Vakshalam Pangum Langaiti Grim Yakriba Taraham Vande Sri Guruvi Natarinam Namo Om Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Krishna Today Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namni Namaste Saraswati Gaurani Prachayani Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuyaya Cha Patitanam Vaishnavibhyo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So Prabhupada starts here the verse, the purport, by writing that sometimes people are very much eager to see God. That also means sometimes people are not very eager to see God, at least in this material world. Pure devotees are very eager to see God. Conditioned souls, no, generally not. But some are sometimes. It's Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita 4 kinds of pious persons approach him Chatur Vanyam Maya Sristam Guna Kama Vibhakasha. Not Chatur. How's it going?
Chatur Maya Sristam?
No. Chatur Vyanti Mam Jnana Na Sukritunoduna Ato Jigyasu Artati Yani Me Bharatashati. Started the chapter. So 4 kinds of pious persons approach Krishna from the conditioned level. Those who are in distress, those who are looking for wealth, money, those who are inquisitive, and then those who are actually searching for knowledge of the absolute truth. So how much they actually are interested in God is a good question. The Jnani, he's the best, and he wants to understand the absolute truth. He's a very philosophical minded person, and not only the Jigyasu is also philosophically minded, but his mind is more scattered out. He's curious about God, and he's also curious about everything else. But the Jnani, he's actually, he wants to know God, because he wants to achieve the goal of achieving Him. And so he's actually one who is closest to being actually interested in understanding God, knowing something about God. Those who are just relieved from suffering, and those interested in money, but actually how much actually interested in God when it comes down to it is a good question. Often not very much. Of course, contact with devotional service can, if one is fortunate and also sincere, actually will arouse one's interest in Krishna. So even though one comes to devotional service with some external motive, like relief from distress, one gets fascinated by Krishna and is simply attracted, and then one doesn't care more about happiness or distress or anything like that. One becomes, this is such, Krishna is such a fascinating person, and I mean, and he's such a fascinating thing. I mean, Krishna is not a thing, but I mean, it's no, he's also a thing. I mean, he's so fascinating. Sometimes, you know, people become fascinated by something. Some, for example, some are fascinated by butterflies, and some are fascinated by flowers. You can become, I mean, it's actually, you know, flowers are very, very fascinating. I had a couple of years, I had my camera, was when we were living out in the West, and then I was just taking pictures of all the flowers when I saw them, small, big, anything like that. I have a whole collection of that. And it's actually, you know, flowers are very fascinating. Or, as I said, I mean, you know, so you can become really fascinated by something because it is very interesting. So, one can similarly just become fascinated by Krishna. He is very interesting and he's very fascinating. And that's actually, I mean, he should be the most fascinating of all, just to get it, you know, become, you know, like one should almost become like a botanist or a zoologist, you know, I just want to, you know, there's this rare species, you know, they're trying to, you know, and you can get a glimpse of it and like that, and it's starting, you know, they can be completely absorbed. Devotees actually should be supposed to become completely absorbed in understanding Krishna, and yeah, and that's you know, that's the devotees. They're not interested in Krishna for getting anything, but they simply become more and more attracted to him and develop love for him, and so on. So those who come to Krishna, to devotional service with you know, material motives, hopefully they awaken the attraction for Krishna, because otherwise it can be a temporary thing, the contact with devotional service, just like the arthas, those who are trying to get release, or is that the arthatis? You Pandit, Sanskrit Pandit. Artha, arthati. Artha is the wealth. Huh?
Artha is one who's distressed.
Yeah, so those who are distressed, you know, they're suffering so much, and then they somehow get in touch with Krishna consciousness, and the distress is actually relieved. But it can also be seen that when the distress has been relieved, and if they didn't really awaken their attraction for Krishna, or there's actually a sincerity for Team Krishna, they can fall away again. You know, they will think that yes, I was suffering, but now it's over, and now I can go back. Now it's you know, I don't need Krishna anymore. Now I can have a material life, and I will not suffer. I mean, I've seen that many times. These devotees, they can be, you know, if they're fortunate, then they go back, and then they are being beaten up again, because that's material nature. This would cause suffering. And one will be beaten up again, and then one point I would say, come back to Krishna again, because that's where relief is. And this is why one can, you know, be battered forth and back. It's a sutra mentality actually. These four categories of pious people actually correspond to the Varnas: Sudras, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, and Brahmanas. And you know that? You know that? And they correspond to the Varnas. Jiva Goswami, he had also an International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Actually, you know, he had a very organized society, and where he also organized the devotees according to their varnas, and the way he would interview them, and then he would ask them, what is your motive for coming to Krishna consciousness? And then according to what the motive was, they would be placed in varnas. And if the motive was, I was suffering so much, nice sutras over here. Or you know, obvious. I mean, if it's wealth you're looking for, then that's a Vaishya type. And if it's curious, that's Kshatriyas. You might find actually Kshatriyas always curious. You know, you have the police We say, what's going on here? Who's doing that? And they always look. That's that's the Kshatriya mentality. They're always observing and curious about everything, and they have to know everything because they have to be in control of everything. And like in that. And of course, those who want knowledge and absolute truth, they're the Brahmanas. They're actually the Brahmanas. But then again, I mean, we meant to become actually Vaishnavas who are above the Brahmanas. That means we will maintain our conditioned Varna nature, in our action, our body and our bodily inclination and also mental inclination and like that will still be according to the Varna. But the consciousness, we actually meant to come to the consciousness of a Vaishnava who is above the Brahmana, meaning, he's actually attracted to Krishna. And that is nothing, everyone can come to that level. It's not that those who come from, just join Krishna consciousness because they were suffering like anything cannot become, to the level of Vaishnava. Everyone can come to that. But we have to develop our attraction for Krishna actually. We have to become interested in Krishna and understanding Krishna. Not only be, just getting relief from suffering or just getting into, management or an organization and be completely filled with that. It's for Krishna. It is Krishna's management and organization. But also, we should be Krishna conscious, meaning we actually are, we should meditate about Krishna and be interested when there are talks about Krishna and try to understand him more and more. And and not just, it's not just some book knowledge that, we just read about. We read books, it's an important part of our process, but actually it should become realized, it should become living. Krishna is here. And actually there's nothing but Krishna here. It is all we have here, it's just Krishna. And to understand how Krishna is here, and how I'm connected with him, and how everything is connected with him, and how he wants me to relate to him, and to understand him, all the intricacies of him, understand all these different aspects, and there's so many things to understand. Once you be interested in that, and once you want, and therefore we render devotional service because actually we should come to the level of loving Krishna. We become interested in Krishna because we love Krishna. But by being interested in Krishna, we also develop love. These two things. Something we don't love, we have no interest in that. We'd rather not hear about it. We don't care. We don't care about it. It doesn't matter. And that's what the relationship most have to Krishna. But devotees, we meant to come to there where actually we are actually interested in Krishna because that is one. That's love. We like to hear about. We like to admire someone we actually love, and if we don't love them, then we don't really like to hear about. When we're not impressed by anything like that. Just like if you have a mother who loves her son very much, and she, when she hears about that he did this and he did that and so on. Oh, isn't that fantastic? She would say, she would really admire and be proud of like that. Someone looking from outside says there's nothing. This is completely ordinary. There's nothing there. But it's because love is there. Then there is, then there actually is also admiration and so on. And on the other hand, if there's no love, then even the spectacular things will just be, that's nothing. That's nothing. You can actually only appreciate someone you love actually, and even though they're doing something that is extraordinary, but you will not be, that's nothing. And can you think of examples like that? Can you think of all kinds of examples? Anyway, it's an absolute point. It is connected with that. We see that with okay, we take Krishna as an example, since we talk about Krishna. Krishna was doing the most amazing things on this planet, but Shishubal, I mean, they were also manifested, at least he heard about them, and he did also experience Krishna as, you know how powerful and superior Krishna was. Of course, he had a very direct experience of that, because Krishna stole his wife, or I mean, and the way Krishna did it was just amazing. You know, it's I mean, Krishna was so superior, and so that he simply, he just when Rukmini was coming out from the temple of Durga, between some of her friends and her mother and I think grandmother was an older Brahmin like that, and all the princes there, they just got frozen because of lust, because she was so beautiful, so attractive that they simply froze. Their mouth just dropped. And but Krishna, he did not. I mean, that's also one thing that already shows Krishna's superiority. He's not affected by lust. So he just came with his chariot and rolled that up, and it's kind of funny how it's described in the Bhagavatam and Krishna book, that all the princes, they were observing how Rukmini is coming out, and now this is happening, and Krishna is coming here, and now Krishna is taking her on the chariot, and now Krishna is taking her on the chariot. They kind of didn't really. It was just part of it. They were so much lost their intelligence, these princes. They were it was unreal. They were just observing. But then it dawned on them, and Jarasandha was there. In the middle of that, he just thought, this is not part of the script. And then he said, hey, Krishna is taking Rukmini. And it was described that he just went there, in front of all the princes who were just stunned by lust. He just went, and he just grabbed her hand, slowly, peacefully took her, placed her in the chariot, and slowly started driving. And they didn't. It took the time before they woke up and realized what was happening. And then Krishna, he was. Then of course, then when they start waking up and they wanted to fight, then he started driving fast, and it was a big fight, and he just fought off all these soldiers like as easily as anything. I mean, they had experience of that. Jarasandha is one of them. He had 7 times he was just defeated by Krishna. He had Akshauhini's of soldiers, and Krishna single-handed killed them all. So he had plenty of experience of Krishna's, superhuman, supernatural nature. But he was not impressed because there was no love.